And action.
Just before the holidays, I bought these 11 books, even though I was technically on a book buying ban. Oops. But the price was so good for all of these that it actually would have been financially irresponsible for me not to buy them. So I had to. But before I tell you how much I spent, which I honestly don't think you'll be able to guess, I do want to show you what I picked up and tell you a little bit about each book. First up is This Will Be Fun. This is a fantasy book, and it is about a group of friends who worked together to help save their realm from a terrible darkness. But because of what that quest cost them, they haven't spoken since. Now, 10 years later, they have been invited to the Queen of the Realm's wedding, and as if facing old friends isn't hard enough, the terrible darkness is back. So they must now work together again to help save the realm, and hopefully end with more of a happily ever after. Next is Infernal. This one is also a fantasy. In this one, the main character wakes up in a war-ravaged world with only fractured memories of his past. He knows 3 things. 1, that his name is Stratus. 2, that he possesses great strength and magic. And 3, he is certain he is not human. And as he explores this new land, he makes very few friends, a lot of new enemies, and the battle for his mind will determine the fate of the world. Next we have Steak. Oh, are you working on the Frito factory? Oh, those paws are gonna smell so much like Fritos later. Yes, they are. Okay, I'll let you get back to work. No, go back. Get back to work, Eddie. Good girl. Good girl. The next book I picked up was Steak. This actually follows 3 different characters who I'm assuming their stories will connect throughout the book. The first character is Simon Helsing, who has devoted his life to ridding the world of vampires. So he seeks them out, discovers their daytime lairs, and then does what any good vampire hunter would do, if you catch my meaning. Up you go. I know, but just stay on the couch anyway. The second character is Lexi, who is desperate to prove to the world that the strange and impossible can in fact be real. She runs a website during the day for The Unexplained, where she sifts through all of these different wild conspiracy theories, trying to determine which ones may or may not be real. And then the third character is Todd Caro, who is a detective, and he is being plagued by just brutal, vicious memories of a past case. And he is convinced that this new string of crimes is nothing more than the actions of a madman targeting innocent victims. And I think the whole point of this book is you're trying to figure out, are vampires actually real, or is the detective right about it just being the acts of a madman? I wanted to grab this one because one of my New Year's resolutions is to incorporate genres that I don't typically go for, so I thought this would be kind of a good one to fit under the thriller genre. Probably a little bit of fantasy if the vampires are real, but we'll see. Next we have Black Rabbit Hall. This one is dual timelines. So in the first timeline we have Amber, whose family actually owns Black Rabbit Hall. She knows that time kind of works different there. No 2 clocks really read the same. Summers are timeless and perfect, and honestly nothing much happens there until one day something terrible does. And then 3 decades later, we have Lorna, who is desperate to have her wedding at Black Rabbit Hall, but she quickly finds herself ensnared by the house's history and overcome with the need to find answers to what happened to the family who once roamed the halls there. Next up is First Life. This is also a fantasy. Shocking, I know. In this book, we follow Ten Lockwood, who has been locked up in an asylum for the last 13 months. She has also been deemed the craziest of crazies, and the only way that she is allowed to leave the asylum is if she lets her parents decide where she's going to live after death. Because in this book, there is one universal truth that everyone has come to accept, and that is that first life is merely a dress rehearsal, and real life doesn't start until after death. In the Everlife, there are 2 realms that are in power, and both will do whatever it takes to recruit Ten to their side. But she soon finds herself on the run and is torn between choosing the boy that she's falling in love with and the realm that she wants to support. Who is she going to choose? And will she be able to stay alive long enough to make that decision? Next, we have The Diabolic. A diabolic has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to unalive anyone needed in order to save the person that they were created for. For Nemesis, our diabolic, that person is Sidonia, who is the heir to the Galactic Empire. But when Sidonia is taken hostage, Nemesis must become her in order to save her. Now, as she masquerades amongst politicians and two-faced senators' children, she must find within herself the one thing she's always been told she does not have, which is humanity. That could very well be the key to saving her and the Empire itself. Next up, we have She Wouldn't Change a Thing. In this book, our 39-year-old main character wakes up in her 17-year-old body with absolutely no idea how she got there. All she knows is that she needs to get back home, especially to her husband, 2 daughters, and unborn son. She also knows that in about a week's time, a terrible tragedy is going to hit her husband's family, and she has to decide if she can change the past while keeping what it's given her. Next, we have Mystic City, which is another fantasy. What can I say? I have a type. In this version of Manhattan, the rich live in these beautiful skyscrapers high above the city, while the poor live in squalor down below, alongside mystics, who are magic wielders that keep the city running. Our main character, Arya Rose, wakes up one day with these huge gaps in her memory missing, and she is desperately in love with the son of her father's biggest rival. At least that's what she's been told. And they are now set to marry, which is a union that is set to end years of bitter political rivalry. Enter Hunter, a gorgeous mystic rebel who holds the key to unlocking all of Arya's missing memories. But as she starts to unlock those memories, she also risks losing the love of her life forever. Next, we have Child of the Prophecy. This is actually the 3rd book in a trilogy, and I don't have the first 2, so I will have to acquire those at a later date. Darn. And I don't want to give you too much information because I don't want to give any spoilers for the first 2 books. But I can tell you that it takes place in Ireland, and I feel like that in itself is a reason to read it. I just love reading about the scenery of things that take place in Ireland. And it does have tropes like coming of age, prophecy, chosen one, reluctant hero. Next up, we have The Betrayals. This book follows Leo, who once excelled at Montvert, which is this ancient and elite academy where society's best and brightest go to train in excellence for something called the Grand Jour, or the Great Game. That is until one day something terrible happens and it causes Leo to lose his passion for those scholarly pursuits. So he turns to politics and he becomes this rising star until one day an act of conscience causes him to lose it all. Typical! Now exiled back to Montvert, things are not quite like he remembers them. Once exclusive to men, the Academy's most prestigious post is now held by a woman. The horror. I know. But Leo is drawn to this woman even though he is convinced that they have never met before. And as the Midsummer Games approach, all of these buried secrets come to the surface and age-old traditions are overturned. And last but definitely not least, we have Stygian. In this book, we follow Urian, who is an ancient warrior who for millennia has believed that he was meant to be evil. And he is haunted by memories of his past, especially the mission that cost him the life of the one woman he could not bring himself to unalive. Now learning that she still actually might be alive, he's going to have to travel into the depths of Hades in order to save her. Okay, now that I've shown you everything that I picked up and told you a little bit about each book, I am ready to tell you what I paid for them all. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. I spent a total of $10 on these 11 books. How, you might be asking yourself? Some of you actually might have already spied the reason why I spent so little on these, but it is all because of local libraries. So just before the holidays, my boyfriend and I were going out for breakfast, and one of our usual spots has a library next to it. And this library is never open, but every time we pass it, I see in the window this little cart that says book sale. We got lucky this day, and for whatever reason, the library was actually open. So we popped in, and at that location, I picked up 3 softcover books for $1 each. And then on our way home from breakfast, we decided to pop into a much bigger local library, and that's just up the street from us. And at that location, they had 4 huge tables set out with all of these books that you could buy. And they had a promotion where you could buy different size bags and you could fill them with as many books as you possibly could. And they had like a $2 bag, a $3 bag, and a $5 bag. So like after tax, that $5 bag I think ended up being around $7. I decided to go with that one, A, because it was a little bit bigger, but also because it was like specially branded and it's so cute. Look at this bag. It says Freedom to Read 'em on one side, and then on the other side it is branded with like the TPL for Toronto Public Library. I thought this was so cute, and I was able to get 8 books in here. And I probably could have got 1 or 2 more, but there just weren't any other books that were really calling to me, and I didn't want to just buy books to buy them. So I ended up going home with a grand total of 11 books, and I only spent $10 on them. This is probably the best book haul that I have ever brought home, especially for like the price point. But I am so excited to read every single one of these books. My only issue is that I don't know which one to start with. So before we say goodbye, if you could pop into the comments and let me know which one you think I should start with, I would greatly appreciate it. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But until the next one, I wish you well. Did I bore you? Did I make you go sleepy?